Okay. Hey, good afternoon. My name is Ryan Ash. I'm the fire chief for James City County, and we're here involved in managing this incident at the Premium Outlets here in James City County. With me is a team of partners that have been helping us manage this incident, and I'll allow them to introduce themselves.
Good morning. My name is Todd Cannon. I'm with the Virginia Department of Emergency Management, and I'm a hazardous materials response officer.
Hello, I'm Julie LaFerria. I'm with the Virginia Department of Environmental Quality, and I do pollution response and emergency preparedness for the Tidewater region.
Hi everybody, my name is Joe Gavashevsky. I'm with the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency, Region 3. I'm an on-scene coordinator. I also work with emergency preparedness and response.
Great, thank you. So the status here, we were dispatched Saturday morning, November 23rd at about 9 a.m. for a report of a fire possibly underground. When our crews arrived, they found the parking lot located here behind us with a partial collapse and smoke coming out of the ground. Out of an abundance of caution, the local businesses here were evacuated until we could investigate and determine what was happening. The fire continues to burn today, as you see behind us, and smoky conditions do remain in the area. On Sunday, nearby businesses were able to make independent decisions on whether to open or not. So what we have here is an underground stormwater chamber that consisting of modular crates that are made of high-density plastic that caught on fire. The chambers contain the runoff from the parking area here at the outlet mall and direct that here behind us. It's not connected to any sanitary sewer system. There are no natural gas lines in the affected area. However, there is one line that is close by that Virginia Natural Gas has secured out of an abundance of caution. The only electricity in this area are to the parking lights that you may be able to see behind us. And we're not sure what caused this fire, and based on the damage, we may not ever know for sure what started this incident. The Virginia Department of Emergency Management, as you met, Todd Cannon, was on scene with us on Saturday and has been with us throughout the last couple of days. The Virginia Department of Environmental Quality was also on scene Saturday, their pollution response office, and we were notified them per our normal standard operating procedures, and they've been on scene with us, helping us with ensuring any environmental issues are addressed. Out of abundance of caution, we have also asked the EPA to come to conduct some additional air monitoring, air sampling. Throughout the time we've been here, the Virginia Department of Emergency Management has conducted air monitoring and determined that all of the levels we have found are within normal limits and are expected after a fire, normal products of combustion following a fire. So I'd be happy to take any questions that you have, and the team is here and they can answer anything you may have as well.
What level of experience do your firefighters have in a fire of this nature? I'd imagine this is not one that is frequent.
Sure, that's a great question. Certainly we don't have experience with underground fires. We have not experienced one certainly in a stormwater containment system. We may encounter some other types of power lines or things like that, but we don't have any experience in what we have here. That's why we reached out to our partners to see. We know that through a great partnership that we have them through emergency management, we're able to reach out to resources like this to help us manage this incident.
Has the hole gotten bigger?
It certainly has. It was when we arrived on Saturday, there was an initial collapse located in the rear of the parking area. Over the course of the day Saturday and into yesterday and even more this morning, to where now I think we have probably 75 or 80% of the parking area is collapsed.
Can you explain, or maybe someone else can scientifically explain what's behind the collapse? Like how the fire led to what we're seeing here?
So I'm not sure any of us would be the experts to answer that, but I'll try. So the plastic baskets or crates that are used to construct the stormwater facility, when those were impinged by heat or flame, they lost some of their integrity and begin to shift, and that results in a collapse of the concrete and gravel that makes the parking area above them.
There's a neighborhood behind here, Scotts Pond. Those folks are obviously experiencing some of the wind blowing the smoke in their direction. Can you just kind of confirm like what they are smelling and if there's any reason for concern for that particular neighborhood or surrounding neighborhoods?
Sure. As the wind shifts, since Saturday, the wind isn't shifting. We'll be here for hours, and it'll be directed in multiple directions while we're here. And we know that that's a concern. They'll certainly have an odor. That's why our Virginia Department of Emergency Management air sampling was done, or air monitoring, to determine that those areas were safe to continue. Otherwise, we would have evacuated them. And then we asked our experts at the EPA to come in and provide some additional sampling and additional monitoring efforts to make sure that we know what that containment zone looks like and to make sure there aren't any hazards for folks outside of it.
This is an auxiliary parking lot, right? Was anyone in it at the time?
That's good. So no one was here. Luckily there was no one here at the time, no one injured. We received the call early before the shops had opened here. So no one was hurt by this incident. And it is the auxiliary parking lot located behind the stores.
Is this going to be able to be fixed soon?
I'm not the right person to answer questions about restoring, but I would expect that a facility like this will take some time, engineering work to restore the stormwater facility.
Well, oh, no, go ahead. No, you're good. Well, what is the percentage did I hear you say a certain percentage of the fire has been put out or contained?
So that's very difficult. Access is an issue because as it's collapsed, the concrete above has come down on top, so it makes access to our water streams difficult. We're also concerned with any runoff and with the environmental hazards that may create. So we've elected at this point to allow it to burn out. And I would say that probably 75 to 80% of the parking lot has collapsed. It's really difficult for us to put an assessment on how much is out or still burning when we can't access it.
That was my only question for that was, is there an anticipated more amount that this parking lot could continue to collapse?
Yeah, we've identified the areas through Simon Properties has some representatives here from engineering, and they've been able to determine the edges of this basin so that we know it's in the collapse zone, and we were able to make sure our responders and folks are staying outside of it, and we know that it is not fully collapsed, so there are additional areas that are likely to come down.
There's no chance that the other parking lot could do the same thing, right?
No, that's a good question. We've had that from a number of folks, and we know that it's contained here. So outside of this stormwater facility is a number of manifolds that help distribute the water from the front parking lot back here, and we know that those are concrete and it will not burn past that point. So it is contained here. I know there's been some concern for folks of the homes in the nearby area. While they may be encountering some of the odor and some of the smoke, there's not a danger to them of burning their home because it is contained to this area.
What does this mean for people who are out shopping this week? This is the biggest shopping week of the whole year, so what does this mean for them?
Sure. So I think we've been doing air monitoring the last couple of days, both inside and outside the shop, so that we know that it's safe and we've been comfortable with them staying here and staying open. We always encourage someone who has respiratory illnesses to avoid the area. That would be true whether this was a brush fire or any other type of fire as well. So we would encourage those folks to keep some distance. But if we believed there was any hazard to the shops being open, we would have closed those and evacuated already.
Did you say that you're just letting the fire burn off, basically?
At this point, we're concerned about, over the last couple of days, we have done some extinguishment efforts. And at this point, we're just going to allow it to burn because we believe that's the best because we can't get the water in the correct areas to really extinguish it. And we're also concerned about the runoff that it may create outside of the stormwater facility.
Approximately how long can the community expect smoke?
That's a very difficult question to answer. What we know is that it's a large area, as you can probably see behind you, about 3 acres in size. And with the stormwater facility under that and not being able to really access to how much is still burning, I expect you would see smoke certainly for several more days, maybe even a week. We're going to do everything we can to try to extinguish hot spots that occur, to try to keep that smoke down. But at some point, we have to just let it burn into an area that's safe that we can access it.
Any
For the differences between the hazards of the runoff versus the hazards in the smoky air that's around it? What is the difference that is dangerous in the area?
Sure. So I think probably one of those folks might be better to talk about runoff. However, our thought process is the air quality, if you stay out of the smoke, which depending on which way the wind is blowing, many times the smoke is going directly up, lifted by the heat. There's other times it is blowing across the property or maybe into some adjacent neighborhoods. You're not exposed to that constantly, right? So you're able to get in and out of that. We've done that air sampling. Our concern with environmental runoff is where does it go when it leaves this facility, whether that's in a storm, in a stream or a pond, and what the restoration efforts might be from that long term, which could be longer than just the smoke. But one of those may be a better person to speak with that.
From the air monitoring piece, of course, we're Todd Cannon again from Virginia Department of Emergency Management. Of course, we're looking at this from the outside in. We've been doing air monitoring in different points around the area, inside the buildings, and we are well below any threshold limit values that we'd be concerned with. We are constantly continuing to do that as well today, and we've called in our partners with the EPA to help reinforce some of that as we go throughout this event.
My last question, has there been any discussion about what happens when the fire is done burning, and then I presume that the outlets will want to rebuild the parking lot? Has that even been mentioned yet?
Sure. I know the team from Simon Properties have been with us throughout this event. Their priority is making sure that the protection, just like ours is, that the protection of the workers here and then the public in the neighborhoods near us. They have been working with their engineers on what happens next. They've also been in consultation with our stormwater management department to look at what happens. Because at the end of the day, if we receive rain this week, next week, even a couple months from now, we have to make sure that we can still process that stormwater. So it's very important to understand the effects this has and how we don't don't cause any stormwater backups to make sure that's still addressed. So those plans are in the works, but we don't have anything finalized today.